Let's take a look at some of the built-in libraries and have a peek at the different constructors, functions, and more. Let's go over here to File, Examples, and pick one. Let's see here. Well, it's pretty common to use LCDs in projects, so let's check that out. Okay, let's try Hello World. Expand that. So as usual, we have all the comments that tell us about the sketch, and we could see it was written by our buddy Tom Igo. Tom must write a lot of these. Props to you, man. Anyway, when we scroll down, we can see the first line of interest, which initializes the Hello World library. First, we have the constructor. Then we see the name of the instance we're creating, which is just called LCD, and you know, that makes total sense. Finally, we have the attributes, which are declared as constant integers right above. These are what the constructor requires to create the instance. So let's look a little bit lower here. Okay, we can see right away we're using functions from the Liquid Crystal class. Here we have the begin function, and then the print function. Now be careful here, this particular print function may be different than the one you're used to using to print stuff to the serial monitor. It's specific to this class. But anyway, we see the instance of the class LCD, then we have the dot there, and the name of the function with the attributes we're passing it, which are hard-coded numbers, and we all know that's a big no-no most of the time. But we didn't write this library, so we're just going to ignore that for now. Let's look a little bit lower for another example function. Okay, here we see another instance using the setCursor function. And again, we have the name of the instance, a dot, and then the function name in camel case with the arguments we're passing it. Now, if I had another LCD I wanted to control, I could totally do that. All I'd have to do is come up here, copy the first instance like this, paste it, and then call them something like LCD1 and LCD2. Now, I may need to pass it different attributes, but you get the idea. So let's take a look at a different example. File, Examples. Using an SD card to store data is another common thing you may find yourself doing. So let's go over here to SD, and let's do Files. Once we get past the comments, we can see our example of creating a file object. We have the constructor as before, and then the name of the instance, but this time there's no attributes. If we scroll down a bit, we can see the close function, which takes no arguments. Let's check out one more example. We'll go to Files and Examples again, and now let's do this space brew yun, and we'll do input output. Now, I picked this one specifically so I can show you the alternate way to create an instance of a class. So here we have space brew yun, which is a constructor, and also the name of the library, which is a requirement to name them the same thing, by the way. Then we have the instance or object name SB, followed by an equal sign, and the name of the constructor again. Finally, we pass it some parameters, which in this case is a string of text. Okay, so that almost wraps things up, and I know that was a lot of information to digest, so let's do a quick review of what we learned. A library in Arduino is a class, and the class is a special data type and encapsulates data and functions into one package. Terminology-wise, we have the constructor, instance of the class, aka object name, and the attributes. To use functions of a class, we need to use the dot syntax. There are two ways to create an instance of a class, and we looked at examples that demonstrated both. The constructor has the same name as a library. When using a library, be aware of the constructor and the attributes, if any, you need to pass to it. And finally, you also need to know what functions are available for use with that class. The Arduino reference can sometimes help with this. Alright, so now you know a little bit more about how libraries work and using them. I can't wait to see you in the next lesson. See you there.